Welcome back to My Tai Chi Life. I wanted to do a segment for you today about the bows in Tai Chi, like a bow and an arrow, and it's the actual bow that we create inside our body. There are three major ones and a fourth, which I'll talk about. And I also want to say that it is talked about in this book, the Tai Chi Boxing Chronicle, compiled and explained by Kuo Lien Ying and translated by Gutman. This is an excellent book on all of the aspects of Tai Chi, so I recommend it to you. But let me explain a little about these three bows. They are a part of, or a function of, the first energy in Tai Chi called peng, or peng, P-E-N-G, which is the warding off energy. And if you want a little more detailed explanation of the 8 energies and the 5 directions, which are the fundamental principles of Tai Chi, please reference my video on the 13 postures. It explains it in detail. But this is a function, this stretching of the bows, of the peng energy, the warding off. The first bow is in the arms, through the back, into the other arm. All right, and so it's here. If you picture that this is the bow of a bow and arrow, there is a pulling or stretching of the bow, okay, as you would pull a bow and arrow. So imagine a string here and attached here, and it's pulling the bow, sinking, pulling the bow, and a connection all the way around through the back and into the arms. There's a segmented quality to this, and the segmentation is at the joints where there are the ligaments and tendons and muscle. And there's an internal tension or stretching at each point, not overdone, but a stretching like pulling, an internal pulling of rubber bands in the joints, through the back, into the other joints, to create that tension and springiness of a bow or of an internal rubber band. All right? So this is bow number 1. When we're warding off, you've seen kung fu movies where the person is standing still and blocking and striking and hitting, and it looks very cool, but all of these movements are isolated to the one arm. With the bow, there's this internal connection strung throughout the body so that the deflection or block is happening in a connected internal movement, so that this deflection is being controlled through this whole bow, out and through. Okay, so this movement of my right arm is helping to direct the movement of the left, and vice versa, because of this internal connection of the bow. The springiness also allows you, when you're warding off, to then move into one of the other postures, which is to release that energy, to strike out. Okay, and the twisting and the spiraling is all part of it, but that's not the major point of this piece. All right, so if there were an incoming strike, I wouldn't just block with my hand, but it would be all together, from the waist up and out, also part of Tai Chi. But for the purposes of this video, the idea of the bow warding off, creating that breathing into it, stretching all of those ligaments and tendons and muscles internally, connected and moving. Okay? Ward off in Yang style Tai Chi is here. Okay? So if the posture is like this, empty, it doesn't do anything. You could be collapsed very easily. But if you have all of the 3 bows, and I'll explain the other 2 bows in a minute, working together, expanded, this arm just as rounded as this arm, breathing into it and opening. You see, I don't know if I'll show you the little subtle movement. Okay, my claw muscles opening. Okay, this creates the very strong ward off. You may have seen those demonstrations where the Tai Chi master gets into this position and people line up and push, and he can't be moved because the energy is going down the leg and into the floor. All right? So this is bow number 1 along the arms. The second bow is the spine. And we pull and stretch that bow in our back stance by pulling down the back here, elongating the neck here, and stretching that bow. All right, so if we were doing a push hands and we were being pushed back, we would stretch the bow, not too much, not too concave, not too convex, and then at the point where the bow has been pulled tight, imagine someone's holding the bow and pulling the string. Pull the string, give tension to the bow along the back, the middle of the spine. Okay, you can have both together, the arm bow and the back bow. You can then deflect and enter into Lu, which is to yield, the second posture, and then go into a releasing of the arrow. You've stretched it and pull into a strike. Okay, so it comes out, that releasing of tension. The third bow is in the legs. It's a little more difficult to create, but it's simply created by the bending of the knees, bending of the legs. So the bow is here. All right, so it's a stretching in this joint, the knee, the ankle, the foot, pulling those tendons and ligaments so that there's a springy action to your legs. Springy action even in the weight-bearing leg. Bow here, okay? And tension, release, okay? So all together, some familiar poses. White crane about to spread its wings. I have a bow in the arms, pulled, tensile, ready to move. I have the bow of the back, and I have the bow of the legs, ready to strike into a movement, okay? A white crane spreading its wings. The fourth bow, which is an addendum, if you're in standing posture, doing standing meditation, there is a bow on the inside of the legs. There's a sense of pushing, nice U shape, but this is more for meditation and for chi building and strength, because when we're in martial mode, we want to be in a more 45-degree angle. Okay, so those are the 3 major bows. You're creating your peng energy, and I hope that that clears up that beautiful secret aspect of Tai Chi.